yell out the answer. So on this first one, it took us to the right because my answers were 2 and 4. So it's essentially where it's crossing the x-axis. So what is my answer on B? So it's going to take me this way. What's my answer here? No real solution. So it's going to take me down here. What are my answers here? So it's going to take me backwards. What's my answer here? -4 and 1. What's my answer here? So it is taking me this way and then down. Answer here? -5. Answer here? -1 and 5. Answer here? 1 and 2. Answer here? 0. Answer here? -2, 2. My answer here? Answer here? No real solutions, right? Answer here? -1, 1. And then my answer here? 2. And it takes us out of the maze. Good job. Any questions on that? Okay, so far, you guys did this, right? Please tear this page out, put your name on it, and come put it up on this stool for me, please. It is due right now. If it is turned in late, it's only worth half credit. So you got to think, if you didn't finish it, how much of it do you have done? I don't want the maze, guys. I want this page. This is the page that you did as homework or in-class work on Tuesday. You had about 45 minutes. And then if you just have the puzzle name at the top with no work, remember, don't turn it in. You'll get a 0 anyways.
I didn't put the puzzle name up there.
Okay. All right. Okay, it needs to be turned in now. Next 5 seconds, or it is considered late and worth half credit. 5, 4, 3. The video is in Schoology. To the second method to solve quadratics. So first method was solving quadratics by graphing. So first method was by graphing. The second method is by taking square roots. Okay? So how do I use this method? What do I do? I first need to isolate the squared term. Isolate means to get it by itself. Then I square root both sides. Remember that the answer will be a positive and negative. When you take the square root of something, you actually get 2 answers. So like if I took the square root of 25, what's my answer there, guys? 5. You actually get a positive and negative 5. That's how we normally write that. That means the same thing as 5 and negative 5. The reason being is because a positive 5 times a positive 5 gives us 25. The negative 5 times a negative 5 also gives us a positive 25. So in both cases, I get a positive 25. So you always get 2 answers when you take the square root. After you've done that, you're going to solve for x. Okay, so starting with the first problem, or notes, is the squared term isolated? So is the squared term all by itself? What's the squared term with? So is it all by itself, guys? Is it on the left-hand side? Is there any number with it? Is there any other letter with it? Is there anything else with it? No. So is it by itself? Yes. How do I get an x squared down to an x? Yeah, you square root it. What I do to one side, I have to do to the other. What is the square root of x squared? X. What's the square root of 25? Positive and negative 5. And now x is by itself, and that is my answer. That means if I were to graph this guy, it would have an intercept at -5, and it would have an intercept at 5. I think it's going up like that. That's what that means. Okay? Let's try the next one. Is it by itself? No. What is with it? 2. What is the 2 doing to the x squared? Is it adding, subtracting, multiplying, or dividing? It's currently multiplying. So to move it to the other side, what would I have to do? So I'm going to divide by 2 on both sides. 2 divided by 2 cancels to 1. So I'm left with x squared equals, what's 98 divided by 2? 49. Now, is the squared term isolated? What? Is it by itself? Yes. So how do I get an x squared down to an x? So if I square root one side, I have to do that to the other. I get x equals, what is the square root of 49? Okay, but how many answers do I need? So it's a positive and -7. I want for you to try this problem on your own and this problem right below it on your own. So those two real quick on your own, please. Okay, let's go over these two. On this first one, is the square term isolated? Nope. So what do I move? Subtract 64 from both sides. So I get x squared equals -64. What do I do now? Square root. Did you put that into your calculator? Everybody put that into your calculator real quick for me. Square root -64. What does your calculator say? Domain error. Someone tell me why it's giving you a domain error. The calculator's not wrong. You can't square root a negative. There's no two numbers that multiply together, positive or negative, that would ever give you a negative answer. So what do you think I put here? No real solution. Okay, next one. What do I do first? Subtract 9 from both sides. So I get x squared equals 16. What do I do now? Square root. X equals positive and -4. Look at this guy. X minus 2, parentheses, squared, equals 25. In this case, when we say, is the squared term isolated? It actually is here. Because this whole term is squared. That whole thing is squared. So what you would actually do first is you would get rid of that squared. You would actually square root both sides first. You can't do what's in parentheses. Order of operation tells us that. Okay. So then what I have on this side is now I have x minus 2, but it equals what? Positive and -5. I can't just leave an answer like that, right? I actually have to tell what x equals. Here's where you have an extra step. Because what this is truly saying, it's saying that x minus 2 equals a positive 5, but it's also saying that x minus 2 equals a -5. So you have to take out and write them both ways. Okay? What do you do now in both situations, though? I need to add 2. In both equations, I'm going to add 2. That cancels here, cancels here. So x equals how much on this side? 7. X equals how much on this side? There are 2 answers. So in the past, we've gotten answers that were always opposites. Positive and -4, positive and -5. But they don't always need to be. All that's saying is that this hits the x-axis at -3, but it also hits it over here at 7. Okay?
If in school you ask you to put them from smallest to biggest, make sure you put -3 first and then 7.
All right, here. What do we do first? Who knows? Is the square term isolated? And the square term in this situation is the whole thing x minus 2, right? So is it isolated? Is it by itself? No. So what do I need to move? Subtract 9 from both sides. Then I'm left with x minus 2 squared equals 16. What do I do now? Yeah, square root, square root. I get x minus 2 equals, ooh, what's the square root of 16? Positive and negative 4. X isn't by itself, so it tells me I need to write two equations where x minus 2 equals 4 and x minus 2 equals negative 4. How do I get x by itself? Add 2 to both sides, so x equals 6 and x equals negative 2. Questions? Okay, I want for you to try the two that we haven't done on this page. So this one and this one, completely on your own. Okay, this first one, what would you do first? So essentially solving for a variable. In that case, what would I do? Yep, first thing is I'd add 16 to both sides. So I get 9x squared equals 16. What do I do now? Divide by 9. Now, I get x squared equals, this is going to give you a funky decimal. I actually keep it like this. And the reason I do that, is because I know something about these two numbers. I know that they're both perfect squares. So, what do I do now? Yep, I'm going to square root both. I get x equals a positive and negative. What is the square root of 16, guys? And what is the square root of 9? 3. If you did not leave this as a fraction and you carried it out to a decimal, your answer should be about 1.333 repeating, right around there. Okay? But it is positive and negative of that. All right, next one. This is a more in-depth problem. What would you do first? Okay? So what do I do first? I cannot do that now. I want to start moving stuff away. So I need to move the 9 away. So minus 9. I get 4 parentheses x minus 2 squared equals 16. Again, my goal is to get that squared term, and in this case the squared term is the x minus 2 by itself. So what would I need to move now? The 4. How do I move this 4 to the other side? Divide by 4 on both sides, yep. I get x minus 2 squared equals, what's 16 divided by 4? 4. All right, now the squared term is by itself, so what do I do? Square root, square root. So I get x minus 2 equals a positive and negative 2. I need to write it both ways. X minus 2 equals 2, and x minus 2 equals negative 2. What do I do now? How? Yep. Cancels there, cancels there. What's 2 plus 2, guys? And negative 2 plus 2? There are my two answers. Any questions on that? You're page 5, right? All right, page 5. I want for you to do, we're going to number the questions. I want you to do number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, One, 3, 2, 4, and 7 right now. 1, 3, 2, 4, and 7. Oops, that should be 8. Gosh, I'm having real struggles today numbering.
I was switching numbers around during the first hour.
You were?
Like, totally.
Yeah. Clearly I'm struggling with that too. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 8 is what I want you to do right now. So go ahead and do those problems. We're going to work on for the rest of the time. You're going to finish the questions on this page. So there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 questions on this page. Then you're going to go over to Schoology. There are 2 assignments in Schoology. There's a 5.1 and a 5.1b. You're going to do both of those. Okay? So those 3 things are what you're going to do the rest of the time that you're in here. You need to finish these today in class. You are capable of doing that.